Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We'll start our video with a woman who decided that curbside pickup rules didn't apply to her. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Parked like she owned the place. Trapped like she deserved it. There's this notoriously busy store in my city, one of those downtown locations where parking's already a nightmare. To help ease the chaos, they've got a few clearly marked curbside pickup spots right out front. Signs are posted, painted on the ground, even have warning cones sometimes. You'd think that'd be enough to deter lazy drivers, but nope. Every time I go, those spots are jammed with people who just leave their cars there and head inside to shop like they own the place. It's maddening. Especially when you're there for actual curbside pickup and find yourself either double parking in the middle of honking traffic or paying to circle the block until something opens up. The worst offenders are the ones who park in the pickup zone and disappear inside for 20 to 30 minutes, completely ignoring the fact that they're inconveniencing literally everyone else. Anyway, tonight we got lucky. We pulled up and hallelujah, one pickup spot was free. The other two were taken, of course, by empty cars, their drivers nowhere in sight. We slid into the open spot and backed up a little, snug to the car behind us, which in turn had backed up right on the bumper of the next car in line. It created a perfect, tightly packed row of 3 cars, like a little sardine can of entitled parking choices. We settled in to wait for the store employee to bring out our order. I'll admit I had a slight smug moment sitting there, knowing at least one entitled parker was about to have a very inconvenient realization. Sure enough, maybe 5 minutes later, a young woman emerged from the store with her reusable shopping bag and latte in hand. She headed straight for the car behind us, the one sandwiched in the middle. She approached it, keys in hand, full of confidence, until she took in the situation. She looked at our car, then the car behind hers, then back at us. Her brows pulled together in that, wait, what kind of way? She got in and tried to wiggle out, forward, reverse, forward again, but it was no good. Our bumper was just close enough to stop her from swinging out, and the car behind hers had zero room to budge either. She was trapped. I watched in the mirror as she paused with her hands on the wheel. I half expected her to come stomping up to our window demanding we move, but to her credit, or maybe just to her awareness that she was in the wrong, she didn't. She just sat there, stewing. And oh, she was mad. She flipped her visor down and glared at herself in the mirror. Then she tossed her phone in the passenger seat and threw her head back in frustration. She even hit the steering wheel a few times. I watched the entire meltdown unfold from the comfort of my front seat. I turned to my partner and whispered, "This is the best curbside pickup we've ever done." She had to sit and wait for the full 15 minutes it took for the store employee to bring our stuff out, and we didn't rush. We confirmed the order, loaded up the back, chatted for a minute about a missing item, signed the receipt, all while she sat helplessly stuck in a spot she never should have taken. Finally, when everything was sorted, I slipped back into the driver's seat and calmly started the engine. She perked up like a dog hearing a treat bag crinkle. I pulled forward slowly, and in my rearview mirror, I caught the look of pure annoyance on her face as she yanked her wheel into a hard turn and peeled out of that spot like she was escaping prison. The satisfaction? Immaculate. No yelling, no confrontation, no passive-aggressive honking, just her being forced to face the consequences of her own inconsiderate decision, with nowhere to hide. Curbside pickup spots exist for a reason, to keep things moving for people who actually need them. But lazy parkers treat them like their personal VIP spaces. The entitlement is infuriating, especially when you're the one stuck waiting because someone else couldn't be bothered to follow the rules. And our second story. Yes, you do have to pay for it. It's the tail end of garden and pond season here in the UK, which means most of the outdoor items in my shop are heavily discounted. I work alone in a small aquatics and garden decor store, and right now we've got a selection of solid brass bird ornaments on sale. Great for the garden. Not so great for jousting tournaments, apparently. It was a Saturday, but quiet. Eerily quiet, honestly. I was behind the counter, half browsing Reddit and half listening to the hum of the fish tanks when I suddenly heard a loud crash followed by a child shriek. My head snapped up. Across the shop, I spotted the culprit. A little boy, couldn't have been older than 2, had apparently decided to reenact some kind of toddler crusade. His noble steed, one of the brass herons. Unfortunately for him, brass birds aren't engineered to support the weight of a full-sized human child. The poor bird had buckled, legs splayed awkwardly beneath it, and the kid had tumbled off dramatically. I rushed over to check on him, half concerned and half internally screaming at the mother who was casually wandering over like she had all the time in the world. For clarity, I'll be me and she'll be SC for stupid cow because, well, you'll see. Me. Oh God, is he all right? Me. Yeah, he looks fine. Picks him up like it's no big deal. Me. Well, I hate to be this guy, but I'm not going to be able to sell that now. You're going to need to pay for it. SC. I'm sorry, what? Me, repeats myself, a bit slower this time. He damaged the item, so unfortunately it'll need to be paid for. SC. Nah, don't think so, mate. He broke it, not me. Me, without even thinking, well, I could be wrong, but he looks a bit young to have his own income. I'm afraid you'll still need to pay. Cue the internal freeze frame where I'm from. People don't take these conversations lightly. I was bracing for shouting, swearing, maybe even a slap. But to my surprise, SC, fine, I'll pay. But I'm not taking it with me. It's broke. I don't want it. Me, not a problem. I'll bin it. But yes, you'll still need to pay. She paid, scowling the entire time, and as she stomped out, she muttered, maybe you should put a warning sign up, yeah? Like, please don't ride the birds? Honestly, are people like this the reason bleach bottles say do not consume on the label? Because Christ. I mean, that's really cool of them to pay rather than just leaving or causing a massive scene. It's really daft for them to infer that a written sign would have deterred their currently illiterate 2-year-old. And our last story. Neighbor cut down my 89-year-old oak tree. I wasn't home for more than 15 minutes before I noticed something strange through the kitchen window. A bright orange vest darting through the woods behind my house, chainsaw buzzing, voices shouting over it, and the unmistakable thud of something heavy hitting the earth. I stepped out onto my back deck and what the F? One of my old oaks, an 89-year-old that shaded half my yard, was lying on its side, felled, limbs splayed like a corpse. A group of day laborers were dragging sections of trunk onto a flatbed trailer. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? I called out. A guy in a flannel shirt and wraparound sunglasses turned, wiping his brow. My neighbor, let's call him Bob. Bob waved like we were at a barbecue. Morning, just clearing out the hazard trees by my shed. Figured I'd get ahead of it before hurricane season. I stared at him, blinking. You cut my tree down. That oak was on my property. He shook his head with a smirk. Nah, it's right up against my shed. Had to go. I walked to the nearest property stake, an iron rod sticking out of the dirt, clear as day, then another one 40 feet farther in. I pointed between them. This line, that's your lot. That stump on my side, way on my side. Bob scratched his neck like that revelation was mildly annoying, not catastrophic. Huh? Thought those were just old survey markers. You really ought to make it clear. Excuse me? I mean, he huffed, if you don't want stuff removed from your yard, maybe mark your trees or something. I had to step away to stop myself from saying something I'd regret. When I came back, Bob had the gall to say, well, you could at least chip in for half the removal. I paid $2,000 to have them cut down. I blinked. You want me to pay for you destroying my property? Bob shrugged. It's not like you were using it. Let me tell you, my blood pressure was doing Olympic-level gymnastics. Back inside, I called the police and filed a report for destruction of property. My wife typed out her recollection of the entire confrontation, and I backed it all up with photos, timestamp shots of the stump, the other trees he'd cut down on his side, the day laborers mid-action, and the ignored property stakes that had been sitting undisturbed since we bought the house. A few hours later, I pulled satellite images from Google Earth from the last 3 years, proof that the oak had been standing tall in my yard long before Bob's tool shed even existed. I even found photos from a 4th of July barbecue showing kids playing under its shade. That tree wasn't just part of the property, it was part of our family's memories. But it gets better. Turns out Bob didn't just cut into my land, he also cleared out 2 young pines on the other neighbor's lot, trying to make a clear perimeter around his shed. I let their property manager know, and they were just as thrilled as I was. By the end of the week, I'd contacted a tree law attorney. Yes, it's a thing. And also brought in a certified arborist from the Virginia Arborist Association to evaluate the value of the felled tree. Given its age, species, and health, he gave a conservative estimate of $10,000 in value. Virginia's timber trespass laws allow for triple damages, so that's $30,000 for one tree. Add in legal fees and the value of the decorative stone border around the tree he plowed through with the stump grinder, you're looking at close to $35,000. We served Bob with a formal demand letter, his response a handwritten note in our mailbox. This is ridiculous. I was doing everyone a favor. My shed looks better without trees in the way. You're welcome. Yeah, he really wrote "you're welcome." So we sued. During the court hearing, Bob tried to argue that it was an honest mistake and that no real harm was done. He even brought in one of the day laborers to say they thought it was his yard. The judge wasn't impressed, especially not when we laid out the survey, the property markers, the arborist report, and the Google Earth history. The kicker? My wife had filmed part of the tree being cut down while I was confronting Bob. In the background, you could clearly hear him say, "If it's not mine, he can sue me." Well, Bob, we did. The court awarded us the full triple damages, $30,000 plus court costs. Bob tried to appeal, but ended up settling after the appeal hearing didn't go his way either. His shed's still there, now without any trees to shield it from the afternoon sun, so we planted a new oak near the stump. Bob doesn't wave anymore. The court proceedings must have been particularly satisfying to watch. There's something cool about seeing someone so confident in their own rightness being systematically dismantled by facts and law. Bob's attempt to play the honest mistake card fell completely flat when faced with professional surveys and video evidence of his dismissive attitude. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.